and welcome in the Ars Electronica Center, in our deep space, the place where we're usually also holding our press and media information sessions. Now it's the English one. We just finished our German edition of a very exciting press conference for us, a press conference that is really in many cases a kind of takeoff. On the one side, a takeoff for the marathon of informations and presentations that are starting now for this year's Ars Electronica Festival, which will officially start with its program, of course, on September 6th, but of course now there is already full activities. But it's also the takeoff and the start of a very interesting and unique program, a totally new program, because a new university is about to take off here in Linz, and there is a wonderful collaboration between this new university, the IDSA and Ars Electronica, that we are going to present today, the Founding Lab. A way to not just introduce the concept of a university, but to investigate, to experiment, to be a laboratory where new ideas, new concepts and new methods for how a university of the 21st century should look like, should work like, what aims, what goals should be pursued. All these questions will be discussed with a very interesting crowd of students, fellows, experts within the frame of the Ars Electronica Festival, but also on a longer term. This is what we are going to present today, and before I tell you everything about it, let's hand over the microphone to the probably most important person of this new university, the new designated president of the IDSA, Professor Stefanie Lindstaedt, and she will tell you about the concept of IDSA.
Thank you, Gerfried. Welcome also from my side. I'm very happy to be here today to welcome you all, also in behalf of the new University of Digital Transformation, IDSA, and there have it written as well. What we are experiencing here now is the birth of a new university. This doesn't happen very often. As to our findings, this is 75 years in Austria since a new public university was founded. So this is an enormous opportunity, not only from the content point of view, the digital transformation as a whole, as in its entirety, but also on how we want to teach and learn within this university, what kind of methods we want to use and what kind of technologies should be applied to this. And specifically, we want to focus on interdisciplinary research and teaching and learning. And this interdisciplinary, coupled with our project-oriented approach, will enable us to provide a lot of flexibility. So that means our students will predominantly learn within projects, not so much in these kind of presentations and talks, but they will use whatever they learn directly, apply it, develop new goals, new challenges, what they want to follow. And the original inspirations for those projects should come from all over the world. So from industry, from economy, from NGOs, from the students themselves, from research, from the professors. Everybody is encouraged to bring in interesting questions and problems to the floor, which then our students will be working together. We see IDSA itself as an interface between, on the one hand, the computational side, digital AI and so forth, and on the other hand, issues concerning our society, such as health, climate, energy, environment, and mobility. So these are the kind of topics we want to look at. And if we want to really use AI in all these topics, in all these areas, what we really need to ensure is this new technology is a trustable one. And this will be also one of the focus points of our work. IDSA aims to attract students which like predominantly do not have a computer science background. So we're really looking at people, or try to encourage you who have studied maybe medicine or electrical engineering, other kinds of journalism, medicine, and other things and if you have an additional interest in the computational tools which could improve your work, enable you to maybe approach totally different challenges, then IDSA would be the right place for you to join. Since we will kind of enhance your background, your knowledge with these digital approaches. And yesterday evening, we were able to welcome our first 75 students, masters, and these are masters and PhD students within the Post city. They come from 43 different countries, and most importantly for me, they also come from over 100 different disciplines. Their background is enormous. I've talked to some of them, and each individual person already combines at least 2 or 3 disciplines in him or herself, and that's really an extraordinary crowd which is here now and which will help us to think this new university, to come up with new ideas on the what should we teach, as well as on the how. How should it actually be taught? How should these projects be conducted, and which kind of role does technology play in all of this? It's now our task at IDSA to concretize the vision for the university, and the Founding Lab is our very first stream of our strategy process. So there we address the students and the fellows, so the teachers basically, and we try to get from them the most important input for how they would envision IDSA. We will then do different kinds of events and sessions with the companies here in Linz. We will talk to other universities. We will be internationally visiting other places in order to really gather a whole lot of ideas, but also constraints and requirements which the university should fulfill. And the idea is that by the Christmas we would have a very first version of our concept, which of course then goes into different kinds of iterations and discussions, and which then in the end will be the basis for our calls for professorships. So this is our strategy process, which is ongoing, and in winter 2024 we are expecting our first PhD students here in Linz. So stay tuned if you are interested in pursuing such a degree. Well, I'm looking very much forward to this exciting process. We started all these discussions yesterday, and I'm absolutely indebted to Ars Electronica, to Gerfried Stocker, to the Gründungskonvent, Katja Schechtner, to have set this all up, to have provided us with this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to a very fruitful and further collaboration with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this introduction. And I think we have heard already lots of keywords that sound very familiar to the world of Ars Electronica, and I think also to the way how festivals are usually working. This idea that you really look into the combined knowledge of people coming from different areas, giving them the opportunity to present their skills, but also to exchange their knowledge. I think this is really the very key element. And of course, Ars Electronica, with more than 40 years of history of thinking about how new technologies are transforming society, is a very great place to really start this kind of process of thinking and developing. And I think this is what the Founding Lab is doing in particular. And again, without any further ado, I think what it's all about here today is to really give you an idea. How can you, what can you imagine? What is a founding lab for a new university? And this is where we are going now, to this part where Katja Schechtner and Veronika Liebl. Veronika works for Ars Electronica. Katja is here from the Founding Convent of the university. And together with a big team, they have really not just found an incredible group of fascinating participants, but really put up a very convincing and interesting program that we are going to present now. And I know first there is a video, and then Katja will come to present.
Hello and good morning. You've seen what this university, what IDSA is all about, the students and the fellows. We will, in this Founding Lab, be listening to them to create a future university. How will we do this? Well, we will do it a lot like I had a personal pleasure. 12 years ago, my research work from MIT was for the first time shown at Ars Electronica. And it was work that looked at the data, at what we know about big data systems about cities, and how we can transform the real world through this. And I was extremely lucky that Gerfried Stocker, the head of Ars Electronica, actually came to the opening of this exhibition, not because of my work, but obviously because some of the other excellent researchers and artists that have been working together at Ars Electronica and have really created a forward-looking idea about how digital transformation in the real world will be going on. And this spirit we will be taking on in the Founding Lab. How does the Founding Lab work? First of all, we have the summer school. This started yesterday, and it is to work with the students, to learn from them and to work with them on digital transformation. More about that by Veronika Liebl later. Secondly, we will have the Founding Lab Forum. In the Founding Lab Forum is part of Ars Electronica Festival, and our international fellows will join us and work with the students, with the general public, to discuss what and how a new university on digital transformation will matter in the future. And we will bring those fellows and students together in the fall term to really dig deeper, to really create new projects. You see, what you see here is we've had an astounding number of applications, masters and PhD students from 78 countries, fellows, 205 applications from more than 50 countries. We've selected, in a lot of hard days' work and nights' work, 75 students and 20 fellows. They will be working together during the summer, and then 25 of those 75 students will become the first cohort of IDSA and the 20 fellows and work together in the fall term. We've done that in a timeline that works with the digital transformation at nearly lightning speed. And that this was possible is only possible because of the great team of Ars Electronica we have been working with, and my fellow members of IDSA and our newly elected president, Stefanie Lindstaedt. We have been working day and night to do a really good program for our students, which will Veronika now introduce. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katja, also for this program overview of the 3 thematic strands, also of the Founding Lab. I'm going to now jump actually in the first one, the one that is kicking off, the summer school. We had already people arriving, students arriving from all over the world in the past few days at the Linz train station. In this very morning, they're kicking off their first session, the first official session of IDSA and the summer lab, the summer school Founding Lab. They will stay here until Monday of 11th of September. So basically they will run through the whole duration of the festival, and on the Monday afterwards their certificates will be handed over to them. The level among the students is really impressive. We have students from fantastic institutions such as Cambridge University, University of Pennsylvania, the MIT Media Lab Boston, the Royal College of Art in London, or the University of Cape Town. But it's not only the level of the students which is so inspiring, it is particularly also the scope of the backgrounds and the disciplines they bring in. It is tremendously inspiring to see also how many disciplines are represented in digital transformation agendas. They have backgrounds in architecture, in biotechnology, in computational arts, data science, design, history and heritage, food safety, for example, media arts as well, of course, medicine, human-computer interaction, economics, product design, law, robotics, autonomous systems, just to name a couple of them. Also, the sheer diversity of nationalities is impressive. We have 43 countries represented in the 75 students coming really from all over the world, including Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Bulgaria, Cameroon, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Estonia, France, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Guatemala, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Iran, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Lebanon, Lithuania, Nepal, Netherlands, Nigeria, Pakistan, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Taiwan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom. The summer school program itself goes for 3 weeks, and it will function also as an initial test laboratory, determining also the demands of students to this new university. Ars Electronica's role in this, of course, as often, is to position also this as a platform, to invite students and experts from all over the world to gather these visions, these positions, also these expectations to a university of a 21st century, and build also a discussion place where all of them can come together and discuss their ideas. Accordingly to this idea, of course, we founded a program in particular focusing on the first 2 weeks, focusing very much really on discursive elements. So instead of frontal teaching, we invited the students really to come here for hands-on lectures, for discussions, for sharing visions, for sharing analysis, and we'll focus within the 2 first weeks in special workshops very much on this discourse. The 3rd week of the summer school then is very much focused actually on the presentation to the public, but even here, we focus very much actually on the discussion with the public audience, of course also bridging the university and academic field to the civil society. Exactly these discussions, both with the civil society, but also among artists, scientists and researchers, as well as technologists, are going to be represented in 6 specific topic groups, focusing each on one specific technological area, all having really the ambition also analyzing the transformation processes behind it. One group will focus very much on neuroscience, and the students there will have actually the opportunity also to develop their own brain-computer interfaces using EEG headsets, applications actually which are often used in medical technologies. One working group will work on new design and material research, so to say, by combining robotic technology and origami, a folding art, to develop also new strategies to test them on digital design, digital fabrication, manufacturing, and rapid prototyping. One of the working groups will use the robot dog Spot from Boston Dynamics, focusing in their research questions very much also on industrial robots and the collaborative process together with humans. One group will shed light on a very popular topic currently on generative AI systems, of course also on the pitfalls and the problems, of course, analyzing the information value, something which is very much again connected to this year's festival topic. One group will work very much on the creation of digital interactive systems, and the last and the sixth working group will actually be dedicated to the topic of biotechnology, focusing on core questions of reproduction, and with this also addressing really ethical questions in the use of digital technologies. We have invited a range of experts from all over the world, from all over the disciplines to join us for hosting these workshops. We have a couple of local heroes, for example, Johannes Braumann, a professor for creative robotics here from the Art University in Linz, or a regional entrepreneur working, however, in a very international company in G-Tech, Christoph Guger. They are specialized on brain-computer interfaces, in particular, and selling biomedical devices and technologies. He will, for example, offer the workshop together with a fashion designer and a 3D printing specialist, Anouk Wipprecht. And this way of pairing also technologists and artists, also, of course, researchers and artists, is something we have tried really to embed in most of the pairing teaching situations for the whole summer school. A second of these combinations is also the bioartist Charlotte Chavez, together with chemist and molecular biologist Patricia Sarugeta. Of course, it would not be an Ars Electronica program. We will, of course, also provide in-house expertise from the Ars Electronica Future Lab. In this case, Matthew Gardiner will give insights also in his long-lasting research in robotics and origami. In addition to these 6 core working groups, in these thematic groups, we have actually a program for the next 3 weeks full of lectures, of elective workshops they can choose from and put together their own curriculum in a way. In most of the lectures, we focus very much, of course, on the interdependencies between technology, ecology, and society. We will have, of course, insights into also technological developments and the impact on economical, political scales. We will have a couple of lectures also focusing very much on the relation between technology and ecology, represented, for example, through circular economy ideas and visions through the Fab Lab Barcelona. We will have also a couple of talks on how to build research infrastructure, one, for example, represented by a scientist from CERN. We will have a talk on digital currencies by Peter Niederländer from the Austrian National Bank. And we have actually 2 quite special inputs from prominent figures in Austria. One from the Minister Gewessler on policy negotiation in the field of transportation and energy policy, and one from the Federal Minister Polaschek on the role of universities, in particular, of course, IDSA, to strengthen Austrians' education location. In All of this, students can also select various topics, so they can, of course, group their interests, let it be the responsible use of AI in times of climate crisis or misinformation and the effects on democracy. So they do have, of course, next to the set working groups, also the possibility to set their own curricula. How they're working on the outcomes is something my dear colleague Katja will dive a bit more into it.
Thanks, Veronika. Well, you've seen the incredible program, the offers we give the students. But as we said in the beginning, we want to listen what the students have to say to us based on their own personal experience and what we've been working on. And therefore, they will be working in 5 task forces who then, when the festival starts, inform us. First of all, you've heard in the beginning how excited I was when I was for the first time able to represent my work at Ars Electronica. I had to turn 38 for that. Our students will be working on demonstrator projects, on projects that will be showcased right in the festival area in Post City to express their own thinking through objects, through discussion boards, through videos, right there next to the winners of the Starts Prize, to the famous media arts artists that got maybe the Golden Nika at Ars Electronica. It's an exciting opportunity. We also have, on the first evening, a big gala. A gala where we have an opening keynote, where we have fantastic international artists and our students as performers, as entertainers. We have people coming from the Royal College of Art, we have dancers, we have performers, and they will be an integral part of the real public launching with more than 1,000 people in the Gleishalle in the evening of the first evening of Ars Electronica Festival. We also will have presenters. The first and opening keynote of Ars Electronica Festival this year are our students. We, as the IDSA faculty, Founding Convent President, and the fellows, and the general public will listen to them first. They can prepare what they have to say for this first day during the work and the workshops in the summer school. We will also have reporters, media, and media to work with the media to make sure that what we're working here is then also be available for the public. May it be social media, may it be traditional media, may it be audio, visual, writings, they will prepare for that and showcase their questions and their learnings. Now, and finally, we have something that's very dear to me, policymakers. I've been working in policy more and more in the last few years, and I see how important it is to inform the politicians, both on your knowledge and the facts and data, but also on the creativity, on the visions, on the ideas for the transformation. And this group will get the opportunity to develop a manifest, requests and requirements they can actually deliver to the government, to the Minister of Science and Education, and other politicians in a closed session and discuss with them. Now, these students and the experts will be then at that point joined in the forum by the fellows. What you see here behind me are the fantastic 20 fellows from 12 countries that will be joining us as catalysts for learning, as teachers, as listeners, as people who bring something and take something with them to actually transform the world. I might want to show you in more depth how the program in the fall term will be looking. So first, we have chapter 1. This is an area where we, with the students and the 25 fellows of the fall term, 25 students of the fall terms, will focus on the hidden infrastructure. What builds the net? What are the materials that go into it? Who owns the networks? What is high power computing, what will be happening there? The physical infrastructure that we so many times forget that make actually the digital transformation visible. We have 3 grand fellows for this. Dasha Hewitt, a Canadian working, a scientist, professor now working in Berlin. She will be working on real objects, descending them. What is in them? What does it make? What does it build the digital transformation? We have Gerhard Grimm. Gerhard Grimm is was born here in Upper Austria. He's now living in Australia, and he is the senior director at Gartner Technologies for supply chains, and he will bring in his knowledge from that background. And we have Vladan Chojla. Vladan is not only a professor and therefore able to work and teach and share his knowledge with students in depth, but he's also an incredible artist, represented here at the Ars Electronica Center by showcasing his map, what materials, what everything goes, what in the infrastructure to actually have AI being possible. I really invite you to come and see his work here, and I'm very grateful to Ars Electronica that we had him applying and could select him as a fellow. Chapter 2, after we've looked at the infrastructures, the sometimes hidden infrastructures, the material ones, we look at the infrastructures, the softwares that run on this infrastructure, the code, the data bias, the models, the simulation models, the pros and cons, the stochastics that are built into these systems. And we will be doing this with Ariana Miranda. Ariana comes from Costa Rica, has studied in the United States, and is an incoming professor in Yale working on data and urban data and science. We have Roland van Dierendank. He is a young researcher working very much on the ethics of AI, the ethics of models, of how are they built, where are they heading, what are the questions that relate to this. And then Paulo Sirio. Paulo Sirio is an internationally acclaimed artist. He is a Golden Nika winner, and he's an activist. He has worked with data. He has liberated data. He has found hidden data and played it back and showed it back into the face of the large technology companies. What does it mean? What does it mean when you use it, and what does it mean for us as societies? Chapter 3 then, we'll move one step forward again, again looking at the physical, machines, robots, and tangibles. So how do we interact with machines that care and scare us? We have RailC. RailC has a fantastic track record on education and working in the US, but he's currently based in Hong Kong, and he asks on how we interact, what's the right questions to ask and interact with the robots of the future. We have Nan Zhao. Nan is in many ways a prototypical fellow, a prototypical person that we were looking forward also when we think about what could IDSA have in the future. As you know, our people that go out from here. Nan has studied electrical engineering at RWTH Aachen in Germany. She then went to MIT Media Lab, where she got her PhD in responsive environments, very much interested in how the human body interacts with our environments, with the physical, with the robots, with the machines. And she has then founded a company and now joined again a company founded out of MIT Media Lab by people who have already founded another hardware unicorn, Tulip, that actually brings together all the knowledge, all the thinking that we are having on digital transformation to the factory floor to support the workers, to support the people who are not able so much to influence how we do digital transformation up to this time, but now by working and looking at that, they are actually able to transform the systems to their needs. And Edwina Portocarrero. Edwina is a fantastic international researcher on, she brought robotics to the playground, PhD, at MIT, the Frog design lead coming, a national from Mexico, joining us. Chapter 4, Dietmar Offenhuber. Dietmar was part of the Ars Electronica Future Lab. Dietmar has a PhD from MIT. Dietmar is also now Dean at Northeastern, and he will be joining us, and he has so much knowledge about the topic chapter, interfaces and visualizations, which is, again, we are now, after we've been in the physical world, move in the virtual world, where our minds and the computer's minds meet. He will be joined by Chao Bao Li. Chao Bao Li is a Harvard graduate, a Forbes 30 under 30. She's an artist and a professor working on creating these future meeting spaces of our minds with computer minds, and this is very much influenced by how we create these avatars, how we create the worlds, what they represent, what genders, what body forms, what ethnicities, what culture is represented in this. And Barbara has developed a lot of characters in Japan in the beginning for these virtual games and worlds, and she will be joining with us for questions on this thing. Then, this is the 4 chapters that we will be doing before Christmas, and they focus more on the, technique, the digital, from many perspectives. And afterwards, in January, we will focus on the 2 big areas that we think, the institutions that will shape how we will perceive and be able to integrate as a society with all the digital technologies, and this is media and policy making. In media, we have Umli Lucia. She joins us from South Africa. She is an activist, a fashion blogger, an online presence, and she will talk with us about how in the global South and in the global North, media and media perception is changing. David McDonald joins us from ABC, the Australian BBC, and he's very much responsible there for their audio space, for how you perceive the future through the audio landscape and how generative AI is impacting that. We have Sivi Epstein. He joins us from Stanford. He is one of those researchers who has recently published in Nature and in Science on AI, their impact on art, but also on how you can collaboratively fact check, how you can make sure you know when an AI is hallucinating. And he has an enormous age index already before he even got his PhD. I'm very happy to have Siv with us. And Sarah Krische. Sarah Krische is a journalist looking at the digital transformation, but also very much on societal questions of imbalance. She's working in Ö1, the Austrian broadcasting system, again in the radio system, and we're very much happy to have her. And finally, chapter 6 about digital society and politics, subtitle, How to Negotiate with Nature, Tech, and People. Again, to see this holistically, we as part of the planet, the technology, the nature, and people on the same level. We have Julia Kloiber. Julia Kloiber has not only co-founded Code for Germany, she is advising the German government on digital strategy and policies. She also runs her own feminist data and policy lab in Germany. Alex Putzer is a rights of nature researcher, a rights of nature in urban areas, so bringing those 2 seemingly disparate areas together. He is also a UN expert already at his young age and an UNESCO fellow working in this realm. Representing the planet, probably. And then Kamya Ramachandran, she joins us from India, perspective of the Global South. She has been hosting and running some of the biggest tech and art festivals in Bangalore, when it comes to technology and digital. That's really important for us, and especially we like her positive and creative impact. I think the festival's son be fantastic and super futures. We are really looking forward to having her. And with this, I think, Roni, you take the stage.
Thank you so much indeed. I assume all of you will actually want to get to know these fellows. All of you want to get to know also the students of the Founding Lab. And the best chance to do so is, of course, the Ars Electronica Festival from 6th of September to 10th of September in Linz. This year, the festival will actually kick off with a whole day dedicated to the Founding Lab, of course, to the presentations and to the outcomes of the summer school, but also to open up the whole discussion on the university of the 21st century on relevant questions such as what are the responsibilities today of research institutions and universities, how can we also build a continuous dialogue between academia and the society, what are the skills relevant today, or also how can we foster the interplay between the different disciplines. All of these discussions and all of these questions will be at least posed, partly for sure also answered, in the symposium on Wednesday, 6th of September in Post-it in the conference hall, where the students will actually open with a keynote. We will have also some panel discussions between the fellows, between experts also, and the students. And the conference will conclude actually with a policy meeting of the students with the Federal Minister for Education, Research and Society, for Mr. Polacek, and he is going to hear what the visions of the students are in terms of IDSA and the University of the 21st century. Following this, we are opening Ars Electronica. We are opening actually the whole festival this year with two separate parts. The first one is dedicated very much to IDSA and the topics from the summer school, where we will have a fantastic opening speech by Jimmy Wales, the co-founder of Wikipedia, also one of the early Golden Nika winners from 2004, actually, showing also how important it is to give students really access to this early on role of Ars Electronica, showing the developments and the visions in digital transformation. Between Wednesday and Sunday, you can then access also the Founding Lab exhibition areas in Post City. The whole right-hand side of the public floors of Post City in the first floor will be actually dedicated to also the outcomes of the students, and we will have also a couple of workshops prepared there. The fellows then invite on Sunday, the 10th of September, to the Founding Lab final presentations at noon, and close with this the forum of the Founding Lab, at the same time also open the fall term semester. For this, we are actually reaching already the end of the presentation of the Founding Lab. We will present, of course, in a couple of weeks also the continuous development and also the programs then for the fall term. And I would like to say thanks a lot for watching. I would like to say goodbye also to people on YouTube and Facebook. For all journalists in the Zoom call, we will be ready in a couple of instances for questions. Thank you so much for following.